this is not a longer version of my TikTok. Well, yeah, technically yes. It is harder to find not permission, but because Amazon doesn't, you know, I can just talk. Amazon doesn't really know that I'm talking about this, you know. They don't have, like, it's not that I you know, like, I don't know what I'm talking about now. This is insane. Like much detail, like much a book, like your book is your book, but not for, like, it's your book. How can I explain this? Hello everyone and welcome to a new video here in my channel. If you are new, hi, I am Ra and I make book writing and daily life content here in the channel, so I would really appreciate if you subscribe if you like those things, because I'm trying to get to 250 subscribers by the end of the year, and it would be my dream if you subscribed and if I got to that goal. So please subscribe if you like those things, and if you already know me, hello, welcome back. In today's video I have a writing chit chat video, and I'm very excited because this is a longer version of my TikTok videos, writing chit chat videos with me. So basically I have a TikTok account where I talk about writing and where I talk about my books, and I will leave it on screen. I will leave all my social media on screen actually. There they are, those are all my social media. Please go follow them, I would really appreciate the support there as well. And basically on my TikTok I have a kind of an ongoing series that I have not, you know, posted in a while, because I've not posted on TikTok in quite a bit now. But I basically have this series where I just talk about writing and things that writers might need to know, and things that, you know, new writers might need to know, or people that have been writing for years might not know. And I want to do a longer version of them, and basically getting all of those videos and put them all in one video for you guys. So that is what this video is about. This is everything that you need to know before you start writing your first book, and that is the video. So let's begin, because I have a few things that I want to talk about. So let's do it. So the first thing that you need to know is if you want to publish your book traditionally or independently, or like self-publishing. Okay, they are completely different, and well, completely different. Yes, they are different. So traditional publishing is basically all the books that you read, or most of the books that you read, are traditionally published. There are specific publishing companies that they basically publish the books. That's basically what a publishing company does. So basically a writer sends their book to their agent, and that is another thing that I need to talk about, how to get an agent. But basically an agent is a person that believes that you are able to publish, like that they like your story enough to try and make a publishing company want to get it and publish it traditionally. And basically a writer talks to their agent, and then the agent is in contact with publishing companies, and then publishing companies say, oh, I like a specific publishing companies. Usually depends on the genres that they, you know, are like they focus on and things like that. But basically a publishing company says, oh, I like this book, I want to publish it. And that is basically everything. On the publishing companies, the editing is done for you, the cover is done for you, the marketing is done for you. Basically everything is done for you. You just need to write the book, edit it kind of decently enough for the actual editor to actually then do the work. And that is everything. That is just how to do traditional publishing. The hardest part is probably to find the agent. The agent is a third party between you and the publishing companies, okay? And that is probably the hardest part, trying to find an agent. And if you traditionally publish, you get the money from the book that you send, and then depending on the amount of copies that you sell, and then you can self-publishing, which is basically you do all your work, but then everything that you, like when you sell a book, all that money goes to you, basically, okay? And for self-publishing, for independently publishing, there are many ways of self-publishing. I self-publish with Amazon, and I have a video on TikTok. All of these things I'm talking about, I have videos on TikTok how to do stuff. But basically, to publish on Amazon, you basically just need to create the book, like upload the book and the cover and the you know, your name and the synopsis and a few other things, and you just publish it. It's free. The ISBN, you can get it for free. You don't need to pay for one. So basically with Amazon is like the free option. There are a few others that are quite good as well, but that's the one I personally use. That's the one I can talk about. Basically, for self-publishing, there are many ways to self-publish. There are many places you can self-publish. I recommend Amazon because that's the one I use. For independently publishing, if you want to independently publish your book, what I mean with independently publishing, self-publishing. If you want to self-publish, you do all your work. You edit, you do the cover, you do the editing, you do the marketing, you do everything. Obviously, you can pay someone to do the editing for you and the cover for you and stuff like that, but basically you do all the work. But all the money that you get from the book is yours, not someone like you. They don't, like the third party, like, you know, in traditional publishing, the publishing company, they would get part of the money because they are doing a lot of the stuff and they need to pay the people that do work for them and stuff like that. If you just self-publish, you get all the money, basically. Obviously, if you pay someone, you know, to do the cover, you would need to pay that up front, and that is money that comes from your, you know, from your account as well and from your pocket. So you have to kind of see if you want to pay someone, if you want to do it yourself, you know, do the numbers, see what is better for you, what is going to be better for your brand and stuff like that. But that is the main thing that you need to know first and foremost before you publish a book. Know if you want to do traditionally publish or self-publish. Okay, that is the main thing. After that, you need to know if you are a map writer or a compass writer, which is basically how you write your books. What type of writer are you? If you're a map writer, you need everything to be planned. Okay, you need absolutely everything to be planned. You need a very specific and very you know, detailed outline. You need to know everything that happens, all the characters, like development to the brim. Like, you need absolutely everything detailed. If you are a compass writer, you just go with the flow. You just go with the flow, you just start writing something, and then it develops while you write, and then you get surprised because something happens, stuff like that. Obviously, you can be a mix of the two, but you usually go more to one or another. Personally, myself, I'm a compass writer more than a map writer. I do need an outline, I need kind of like an idea of what happens when, but I'm a very compass writer. I just start writing, and then things happen, and then I'm like, what do you mean this happened? I wasn't planning on this, or new characters appeared that I wasn't planning on having, and they just appear, and then I have to develop something that makes sense for what happened. So it just depends, and then it's very important to know what type of writer are you, because that will also depend how you edit the book. If you're a compass writer like me, the editing process is much harder and much like in detailed, like, you know, you need more time to edit because there are more things to fix. But if you are a map writer and you know specifically everything that happens, you need to edit the book, but it's not as hard because you know exactly what's going to happen and what needs to happen in what order and everything. So it's not as hard, you know, to edit, if that makes sense. At least the plot, obviously the form of the work, so like what the words they use and the grammar and stuff like that, everything that all needs to be edited and make sure everything is correct. But that is the main thing that you need to know as well. So you need to know how to publish and what type of writer are you in order to actually start writing the book. Next thing that you need to know how to outline a book. Basically, outlining is the skeleton of the book, is basically what's going to happen when. So basically, you know, what, like how it's going to start, how it's going to end, what's going to happen, you know, right in the middle that's going to make the entire story flip, and you need to, the thing that's going to, you know, mess up everything that you need to fix in order for the end to happen, things like that. So basically, outlining can look very different. Like I have a video on TikTok and on here on Reels, if I'm not wrong, showing you my outlining, how I outline, and depending on the book, I outline differently, and you would outline different as well depending on the genre. Obviously, it's not the same writing a murder mystery than writing a romance, or writing a science fiction and writing a, I don't know, a historical fiction. You know, like it's very different. So you would need a specific outline, and you just go with the vibe. You can obviously watch videos on how to outline, watch my TikToks and the Reels where I talk about it, because I think I do it very well. Personally, myself, if I say so myself, I do it very well, in my personal opinion. Knowing how to create an outline is quite important in order for the book to make sense and for everything to kind of have the skeleton, the base of it. Obviously, then you can just go crazy and do anything, but the skeleton and the base needs to be there in order for the book to happen. So that is another thing that you need. Next thing that you would need, that I think you need before you actually start writing, is how to create a plot. Because it is hard as hell how to create a freaking plot. Obviously, you need a plot for the book to happen. A book is a plot. Like, you need something that happens. And you need to know what happens, how it happens, who it happens with. Like, you need the plot, and you need to create a plot. Obviously, you can learn how to write a plot, but basically, that is just what happens and how the problem is going to be fixed. Or you need to know how to create one, but it's not really that hard. Just get inspiration, try and make it all make sense in a sentence. Like, I like to summarize the book in a sentence to see if the plot makes sense. Like, my first book is a girl trying to save the sister and falling in love with a woman. That is the plot of my main book, of my first book. The one-line thing, just to make sure the plot is there, like there's an actual plot and something that happens. So I would say that. And then another thing that you need before you start writing is knowing the character. So basically this is just the prep work for the writing. Knowing how to publish and what type of writer are you before you start writing, and then like everything is before you start writing, but those two things are like more, you know, just more abstract. This is the first steps that you need right before you start writing. Like, you want to start writing tomorrow, you need to do these steps today, basically. So this last steps, the plot and the characters. And the characters, you just need to create them. You need to create the names. If you can create the physical appearance and what the personalities are, if they have any trauma, things that, you know, the connections between them, things like that. All of those things you need to do before you start writing, because, you know, the plot, that, you know, the story happens to a specific set of characters. You need those characters in order to write the book. So those are the things that you need to do in order to actually write the book. And then I would also recommend you knowing how to ask for proof copies and what proof copies are, simply because at one point you will need to get proof copies, and if you are very stressed because you want to publish your book in a specific date and you don't know how proof copies work, you would get even more stressed right before you need to publish it. So it's very confusing. So I would say try and figure out what those are before you actually publish the book or before you start writing, so you know it when you need them. Basically, a proof copy is basically a copy that you ask of your book before it's published to make sure everything is perfect, like to make sure everything that you need the book to have is there. Okay, to make sure the cover is perfect and the margins are perfect and everything that the book needs to have, to make sure it is there, or maybe to see if there's something wrong. Like, I would say get the proof copy before you publish it to make sure when it's published it's perfect. So I would really recommend, this is just for personal experience, I would really recommend getting the proof copy and learning how proof copies work before you actually publish the book, to make sure it is exactly how you want it for when the publishing happens, and you are not stressed out of your mind 2 weeks before the book goes out. You know what I mean? So that is everything. I think that's everything I have noted down on my tablet, because that is where I have been looking at this video. That is everything that I think you need to know right before you start writing your book. As a bit of a recap, just in general, you will need to know if you want to self-publish or if you want to traditionally publish, and you would need to know if you are a map writer or a compass writer. And then if you want to start writing your book tomorrow, the things that you need to know today and then you need to do today in order for that to happen, you will need to create the plot and create the characters. And I would just recommend you to learn how to learn how the proof copies work, just in case. That is the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, turn on the notifications so you notified when I post a brand new video every single Friday, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all. Bye.